Daily Grind with me, Sandy Daly. Let's go, baby. Good afternoon, good day, good morning. How is everyone doing? Of course, this is Sandy Daly. I welcome you to the show once again. And you know what? As I always say, it's morning somewhere, it's afternoon somewhere, it's evening somewhere. And of course, I'm here in Toronto. The weather is getting so much better. Thank you. Because, as we know, well, everybody should know, I'm a shorts lady, right? So once the weather begins to get a little bit warmer, I mean, that is me in shorts because I'm originally from the Caribbean. So it's all good. But, anyways, one person that I have, as a guest today's, she doesn't need any shorts. I'm telling you, this lady is hot all over the place. And she is an holistic coach. Her name is Jessica Tanner. She's my guest today. And I was so excited because I actually saw her on Instagram. And Instagram is the best place to meet people. It is the best place to see who are, the young women who are actually doing stuff, the diverse women who are actually doing stuff. And I wanted to meet this lady and I reached out to her and she just immediately said yes, because she's just that awesome. I love that about her. And she's just so beautiful as it is. You can't take that away from a smart woman, right? They're all beautiful. They all look good, but they are so smart and they're just so intelligent. And she just has a lot of great things that I saw that she's talking about on her platform. She talks about the vegan diet. She talks about an holistic approach to eating, to life in general. And we're going to be talking to her. And I just wanted to remind you all that today, of course, the show that you're watching, it is sponsored by Shandina Organic. And of course, Shandina Organic is our primary beauty sponsor for the entire month, for the rest of my lifetime here on this show, because they're so amazing. And they're going to actually be at the show this weekend that I will be attending. And I'm going to talk to you more about that as the show goes along. But for now, I'm going to bring up the amazing lady herself, Miss Jessica Tanner, who is in, tell me where you are, Jessica. Let me feel jealous right now.
I'm in Honolulu, Hawaii.
People, all right, I told you, right? I'm so jealous. Jessica, thank you so very much for coming to the Daily Grind. I welcome you to the show.
Thank
Now,
you.
you're so welcome. As I introduced you at the very top, I would classify you as a holistic coach. Tell us a bit more about what that entails.
So, as a holistic health coach, it's not like a lot of wellness programs where the emphasis is just on losing weight and aesthetics. With holistic health, you get deep into the root cause, like not just, oh, I'm fatigued. Okay, here's a pill for that. No. Why are you fatigued? What are you doing to cause the fatigue? And also, with especially as women, like our reproductive health issues,
Hmm.
also with bloating, with having all these headaches, with
Wow.
not having the energy to finish things and do what we enjoy. And that's why in my business, I target business women and work with them, because as business women, high achieving women, we have a lot going on and we have all these goals. We want to
Right.
scale our businesses. And it's not that we're lazy or undisciplined. We literally don't have the energy because a lot of us are eating what they call the sad diet, the standard American diet.
Right.
We're not eating healing foods. And I know
Yeah.
with you being from the Caribbean, you probably had a lot of access to the fresh fruits when you lived down there.
Right.
I'm sure it was amazing.
Right. Right. Definitely. Jamaica is calling my name, girl, as you speak.
Oh man,
But yeah,
another
but
place I want to visit.
yeah, oh, definitely. You have never been. I will tell you the good spots to go. So whenever you're going, Jessica, just let me know. I'll tell you where to avoid and where do you have to go. Jamaica all around is a beautiful spot, but just like anywhere else in life, in the world, you have to just know where you're going. But definitely, what I hear you saying is that there is a reason for everything, right? So it's not just things happening. So you're basically getting to the root of it all. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, and how I even got so passionate about health and wellness was back in 2022, and a lot of people don't know this. I went through a health scare, not to the point where I ended up in the hospital, but where my body just started going through all these changes. I started gaining weight to the
Oh, wow.
point where I looked pregnant. And I'm little. I'm 5'1". I'm
Right.
really, really short. So I looked like I was pregnant. And the only reason people didn't know was because I would kind of conceal it with heavy clothes. But I knew what was happening to me wasn't normal. And I was like, what's going on with me? And the doctors were like, oh, well, you have IBS, you have this. And
Wow.
they weren't telling me what to eat. They were telling me, oh, well, take this laxative or do this, do that, or, take this medication, or maybe you
Right.
have this surgery. And I was like, I don't want that though. I want to feel better naturally. I don't want to have to take all this medication, these supplements, and seeing my grandma deal with chronic levels of
Wow.
constipation as a kid. I knew I didn't want to go through that because hers had gotten so bad to where it was painful, to where she couldn't even sit down. And before she recently passed, I had to change her diet. And of course, she's from the silent generation. She was
Wow.
104 years old, and she fought me at first. Like, I don't want to. She was the family cook, the family
Oh,
matriarch.
wow. Wow.
And
Wow.
everyone in my family, if you talk to them, they'll say, oh, now Bernice, she just knew how to cook. She was the go to, but she cooked a lot of soul food. So that was the root cause of what was going on. And once I helped her with that, she didn't have that issue anymore.
Oh,
Once I
wow.
healed myself, I was able to heal her. And then I ended up getting into raw juicing. And that's when I got deeper. I did a 30-day juice cleanse. I worked with a juice coach, and I
Wow.
just poured myself into that. I did so much research. I was like, I love this lifestyle. I feel so good because when you're juicing, you're not just solving one issue, you're healing the body on a cellular level. You're getting deep, like not even 5 layers deep. I'd say you're getting 7, 8, 9, 10 layers deep.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know because there's so much misinformation out there. And it's not totally the fault of doctors because when they're in med school, they're not taught any of this. They're just taught a pill for the ill. They're taught, oh, get surgery. They're taught, oh, the root cause, we're just going to get you this band aid. We're not going to really heal you on a deep level. And
Right.
they really don't know. Like, even my
Right.
grandma's hospice nurse didn't know. She was
Wow.
at our house back when I was still in Maryland before we moved to Hawaii. And I was ordering my watermelons so I could get watermelon juice.
Right.
So I'm ordering like 10, 12 watermelons at once from Costco. And to most people, I look crazy because most people, you don't see that. And the
Right.
nurse, like, I think she was either from Jamaica or
Right.
somewhere in the Caribbean like you. And she
Right.
was like, what's with all the watermelon? I said, oh, I'm juicing them. And she was like, what do you mean? I said,
Yeah.
oh, it helps with my skin, my digestion.
Right.
She was amazed and she
Wow.
had no idea.
Right, right. And so that's a good thing because as you go along and you are educating people, it obviously must make you feel good inside, Jessica, to just, know that you're helping someone. Now, what has
Yeah.
the response been like? Because I know you're a busy lady. As I said, when I called you, you were quite receptive. But at the same time, I know certain times I notice Jessica is busy. You must have a very healthy practice going.
Yeah, I've had a few people show a lot of interest. They're like, "Oh, hey, so what is it that you do?" And then I have other people that know me from my old business practice, the screenwriting space. So
Right,
I had to tell people like, "Hey, I know you know me from this, but I'm pivoting into this over here in health and wellness." And people were like, "Oh, I had no idea you knew about this or that you lived like this or that you lived that kind of lifestyle." And I said, "Yeah, I have a whole story behind that because I had to get myself healthy because I was
right.
not going to go through what my grandma went through being on 14 medications. I was like, I
Wow,
refuse. And I even
wow.
got my mom hip to it. She's a baby boomer. She's almost 70 years old and she's
Yeah.
raw vegan. She's drinking her watermelon juice. She loves it.
Wow, wow, wow. So do you have like what's the best fruit? And I guess I should ask this that you would say is best ripe to, and that's a pun intended right there, ripe to use for juicing? Is it papaya? Is it watermelon? Is it mango? Can you mix all of them? Because I do that sometimes, right? But
Yeah.
what is the best juice that you would say, Jessica, is ripe? And I'm going to have to use that word again
Yeah.
for the best juice,
Oh, I would say watermelon hands down.
right?
Not only is
Yeah.
it simple, and I recommend like getting watermelon from a place like Costco because they're big. I got those little mini watermelons when I was new to juicing and I almost sliced my hand open.
Oh no.
The bigger ones,
Yeah.
they're easier to cut. You just cut them right down the middle. You
Yeah.
scoop them out, you put them in the juicer. Easy.
Wow. Well,
So
and do you put anything? So, do you put anything with them at all? And is there any type of processed anything in it, or is it just raw as it is? And do you just or and drink it as it is? Yeah.
it's just
Wow.
to make it more refreshing since we're going into the summer months. You
Yeah.
can add a lime, you can squeeze lime juice in there, you can put mint leaves in
Oh,
there.
wow.
That makes it super refreshing.
Right. So you mix other things to either add to the component as it is, or just kind of give it other flavors. Correct.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
as long
Right.
as it's natural
Yeah.
ingredients that you're putting in there, you're
Yeah.
fine. And I always kind of cringe when I hear people saying, "Oh, well, I have to count my macros. I have to count
I
my
got my. I know.
because if you're eating real food from the earth, you don't
Right.
have to count anything. You're like, what am I counting? It's a mango. It's a watermelon.
Right.
It's an apple. And in that video that we were trying to get, that like in the
Yeah.
DMs, what I love about that video is that I'm showing how simple it can be
Yeah.
because there's so much misinformation online. And the coaches I worked with that helped me even get into wellness, they taught me it doesn't have to be this complicated. You
Right.
don't have to be the person that gets all these gadgets like a
Yeah.
dehydrator, and you don't have to dehydrate mushrooms and make them into meat because I would see people doing that. But thank God I had a juice coach who was well versed on this stuff. And she told me, she said,
Yeah.
Jessica, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's BS. And I was like, what do you mean?
Really?
Janet? And she was like, all you need to do is just eat the raw fruit, make you a garden
Yeah.
salad, like
Yeah.
juice, drink water. Like that's it. Like that's all you need. You don't need all this fancy equipment. Like the only fancy equipment you might need is a juicer and
Right.
maybe a blender if you want to do smoothies. But
Yeah.
there's all this new stuff too where people are cooking jackfruit, trying to make it resemble meat. And
Right. I've seen that.
and my coach was like, no, 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 please don't get into that. Like, you don't even need to do all that. And I'm glad she told me because she used
Yeah.
to be a chef.
Right.
And
Oh, I love that. I love
yeah,
that.
she used to be a chef. So she knows about how the restaurants, they use all these oils to cook the foods and
Yeah.
how that's the main culprit that's ruining people's health. It's just so much. And
It really is a lot. And what I noticed, like whenever I tried, and last year, I said to myself, let me really try to diet and just never say diet, just eat properly. Let's put it that way.
right.
And I cut out, Jessica, all the processed foods, and I cut out everything, and my skin just immediately went, just look, just go. I mean, like it looked clean, it looked refreshed. I didn't look tired, I didn't feel tired. And that's when it hit me. I mean, being in the fitness industry myself, still I know that, and I should know this, but when you actually do it, you go, now I know it's all about the food, right? Because I don't even have to work
Really.
out. You don't even have to work out extra, correct? Because you'll feel so refreshed and you'll feel so good. So, what are the ladies and gents saying to you when they do all these things, Jessica? What do they say to you when they try your methods?
Sure. So I have a client right now who's in the middle of doing her prep for raw juicing. And she was like, wow, I feel lighter. I have more clarity. I have more energy. And she's actually about to go into my 4 week because we wrapped up day 3 of my focus formula training. And she was like, oh, I have to stay in this because I need that accountability. I've never juiced before. So she's super excited. And day 1, I was showing her doing a live demo of how I juiced, what equipment to get, how to
Right,
cut the watermelon, scoop it out, that you can really save money by getting a lot of your fruit in bulk. So once she saw
right.
that, she was like, "Oh, I'm staying."
Right, she's staying. Now, does it matter if you get your fruits from, say, like a farm? You know, a lot of people, and I've thought about it myself
Mhm.
too. A lot of people are buying their fruits from farms, or does it matter if you buy it from a Costco or whatever, like a brand name store? Does it matter at all, or the quality?
As long as it has seeds in it. With Costco, what I love about them, the watermelon is seeded. They're all
Yeah,
seeded. If they
yeah.
were unseeded, I
But
would be like,
from any
yeah.
brand, like any store. Let's not have Costco calling me going, Sandy, what did you say about my store? Well, we're saying good things. Costco, don't call me. But what I'm saying is, from any big name box store, right? It doesn't matter as long as it has seeds, correct?
Yeah, as long as it has seeds, because
Yeah.
unfortunately, we've been taught that, oh, the seeds are in the way. And no, the seeds are how you can tell it's real,
Oh,
that it's
really?
not genetically modified. Because
Wow.
I know with not necessarily with watermelon, but with grapes,
Yeah.
it's so hard for me, at least in America, to find seeded grapes. It's so difficult. Now, I've done a grape detox before, like for 7 days, and it
Yeah.
does work. You can do it without the seeds in it because I just wasn't able to find any.
Yeah.
But I would recommend if you're out of the country, like definitely if you're in the Caribbean, if you're in Hawaii, if you're somewhere tropical, you can
Yeah.
find seeded grapes.
And that's funny because I used to have a friend of mine, and he would always tell me about the benefits of the seeded grape or seeded watermelons. And not that I didn't believe, but I wasn't into it that much. But now hearing it come from an expert such as yourself, kudos to you, my friend. You were right all along. I do apologize. So I can apologize in public. But with this, you must be a busy person, right? And I know you are. So how can folks find you, Jessica, online? And can
Mhm.
anyone from around the world, as I said, and as you know, I'm in Canada, can a Canadian book you to
Oh,
get
yeah.
some information from you? Like, how can they find you online?
Oh, of course. They can find me on Instagram, TikTok. I got a lot of people on my TikToks once
Yeah,
I shifted to health and wellness. They were like, I'm fatigued. I'm going through this. What,
yeah,
what do I need to do? So
right.
it's a lot of women suffering in silence with this and not realizing that fatigue isn't normal. But to answer your question,
Yeah,
people can find me on all the platforms. I'm on LinkedIn. I need to be more active on Facebook, though, but definitely my YouTube channel. I'm
yeah,
everywhere.
definitely. And so, what is the link? So the link is at Jessica Tanner. Like, what's the actual at?
So for Instagram, it's J Tanner Health, and
Okay.
I'm changing my YouTube to that too as well. And I can send that over to you
Yeah,
too.
please do.
Yeah.
Please do send that over. And I'll put it up on my page. And if folks want to, like, definitely reach out to you. Now, where do you see yourself going with this, Jessica? How far? I mean, you look pretty young, might be from the juicing, but regardless, you're a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
So where do you see yourself going with this? How far do you want to take this?
I could see myself doing this for life, really, because I'm so passionate about it. And even before I moved to Hawaii, when people would ask me, well, how do you do this? What do you mean you juice? Can you tell me more about that? And I would just go on for hours and hours. And it began to hit me like, should I be coaching on this? Like, this is so much fun. And it's not only fun, but it's fulfilling. And you get to see people heal from lifelong things that they
Yeah,
thought they'd never cure, or lifelong emotional battles too, because I had to learn even on my journey, it's not just the food, it's also your thoughts, your negative thought patterns,
yeah.
habits, past trauma. Because I don't
Hmm.
know if you're familiar with that book, The Body Keeps Score.
No, I've heard about it, but I have not read it.
Yeah.
Can you surmise what it says? Like, is it a part of like all of that in terms of what
Oh,
happened to you prior? Is that what it kind of refers to?
yeah, because the body always keeping score means
Yeah,
that you think you've buried a traumatic event. Like, oh, I
yeah,
didn't cry over it. I didn't acknowledge it. It's done. I dealt with it. But
yeah,
no, unless you released it, you felt the emotion, you processed it, and you released it. If
yeah.
you didn't do that, it's still in you. It's still in
Right,
your body. And that's unfortunately why so many women have issues with bloating, not just because of food, but
right,
because there's an emotional blockage that you
right.
haven't released. You might not have cried in a year or
Hmm.
in months, and you've just been going, 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 thinking, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm fine. But you're holding a lot of grief, trauma, stress,
Right.
overwhelm, and that can create fat pockets in the
Oh,
body.
wow.
It
Wow.
goes so deep.
So that's a definite thing in terms of, a lot of times people talk about therapy and we say, or just healing and just trying to get better and with all the stuff that we go through. And you've just highlighted the importance of that, right? Because
Right.
as you just said, the body does keep score, and unless you've worked through it, it will stay with you forever, right? And that's the one good thing.
Literally.
Now, do you travel with your information, or do folks have to just reach you online, or is it one of those things you do a combination of both?
Eventually, I do want to travel since I just
Yeah.
pivoted and started this. I do want to
Yeah.
look into bringing people to Hawaii, creating an offer like that because
Me.
for one, for one, like who doesn't want to go to Hawaii to
It
try
does not,
nice.
right?
Going to Hawaii, you want to heal, you want
Right.
to be in the environment that's conducive to healing.
Yeah.
So, for my even bigger intensive that goes beyond 4 weeks, I want to be able to help women see that your environment is a huge indicator of not only your health, but how well you
Yeah.
thrive because you don't want to be in survival mode. You want to be in
Right.
that mode where you wake up each day, and not to say every day is perfect, but you're
Yeah.
calm, you're at peace, you're centered. And it has a lot to do with what we're feeding ourselves, what we're listening to,
Right.
our deep rooted beliefs, everything.
Right. And that's good because it just kind of tells you that you have to kind of be in tune with your own body. You have to
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
be in tune with what is happening to you. Now, quickly, I know that you did a pivot from the writing aspect to
Yeah,
what you're doing now. Why was that? And can you tell us a little bit about your experience as a writer, and
sure.
why did you switch once again?
Sure, no problem. So originally, I was a screenwriting coach and IP strategist, and I started out in the screenwriting space way back in 2016. It was before I had my business, but I started out as what's called a script reader in Hollywood. And what you do is you read scripts that get sent in from new writers to these studios, and you give coverage notes on the plot, the theme, the story structure, everything in between. And
Right.
you determine, okay, is it ready for production? So you give it either a pass, which
Oh,
means
wow.
it needs a lot of work, or you
Yeah.
give it a consider, which means almost, but it needs
Mhm.
a few tweaks, or then you give it a recommend, and that means, oh, okay, it's ready.
It's
It's
ready. Yeah.
almost perfect. There's
Wow.
nothing wrong. We can go ahead and produce this. We can give it a green light.
Hmm.
And I met a lot of amazing people in the screenwriting space, and
Right.
I've been in it in my own business for about 5 years. But once I moved to Hawaii, I felt this pull. Once I started showing my lifestyle, I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? I really want to do this. I really want to
Yeah.
pivot. I want to switch. It's not that I hate the screenwriting
Yeah.
industry, anything like that. It's just now I'm in a new headspace,
Yeah.
I'm in a
That's
new
sure.
season.
And that's good because a lot of times we're so afraid of taking that plunge or leap into something else, right? To some other career, to some other
Right.
avenue, and then but it's great that you actually did not have that fear. I mean, even if you did, you still went ahead. And fear is not, it's not angst of struggles or whatever. You just have to keep on going, right? So you might
Exactly.
still be afraid of stuff, but you have to keep on going through that, which is exactly what you did. And it's great that you did that. Now, you did that for quite some time, the writing aspect. Do you have folks still coming up to you and go, "Hey, Jessica, can you help me with this
Yeah.
script?"
And I have to tell them because a few of them I'm like, they'd be my ideal client for the health stuff too. So
Yeah.
reaching out to them like, hey, I know you know me from the screenwriting space.
Yes.
Even people that I didn't know, they
Yeah.
knew me through other people. They were like, "Oh, I know who you are. You don't do scream," and I'm like, "Oh, they know me." So let me start putting this in my stories, so
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah. Yeah.
missing people.
Right, exactly. Because as you just said, they might be a client for what it is that you're doing right now. So that's an amazing thing that you continuously have, relationships, as is the the killer or the thing that aids you in profession, right? In your career. It's all about relationships that you build. I mean, I have folks that I've known for, as we say in Jamaica, donkey years, and I can still pick up the phone and go, "Hey, it's Sandy Daly," and they go, "Oh, I remember you," because I haven't burned that bridge. Do you understand?
Right.
So you cannot burn bridges, excuse me, in careers, because you just never know when you have to go back, or you have to like
Yeah.
figure out something else and work with that person again. Now, as we end the interview, and I thank you so very kindly for your time, your patience with this, what do you see is the biggest downfall in terms of folks getting to the best of themselves? Like, in terms, is it time? Is it financial situation? In terms of getting to the best health, is it money that is a restraint, a constraint? What do you think it is?
I would say, and people might disagree with me, but I would say it's not even money. I would say it's the programming, the social programming, because a lot of people are trained to believe that, oh, our doctors know everything. They believe in the healthcare system, but it's not really healthcare, it's sick care. So even though I reach out to people daily, I say to them, hey, I have this raw juicing intensive for high
Yeah.
powered women. And I do get comments sometimes where they're like, oh, well, I can't juice. I have diabetes and my doctor said this. And
Right.
the truth of it is, they're going by what they know as processed sugar being bad, which that
Yeah.
white sugar, it is bad. But fruit sugar is not bad for you. But there's
Right.
a huge misconception when I tell people, oh, it's a juice cleanse. It's like, oh, I can't do that. I'm a diabetic. And their doctors told them that. So that's a big thing. Like, I even have a friend of the family right now. She was my grandma's friend. She and my grandma worked together, and God bless her, she's going through a second bout of cancer. But I've told her about juicing, but she strongly believes in the healthcare system, and she's going through chemo again at the age of 88. So it's just a lot going on. And oh, is it frozen? Sandy, I think it froze. Mm, okay. Okay, let me keep going. It's just a lot going on in terms of people not knowing the truth about the healthcare system. They don't really know that the doctors are giving them misinformation. And then also, I have to make sure I say this too, the doctors don't know either. So they think they're giving the right information, but people are leaving these offices thinking, okay, I can't juice. Okay, I can't eat too much fruit. Okay, I can't do this. And those are the very things that could heal them. Let me see. Mm, not sure if I'm frozen. Okay. Hey. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you.